Ever wondered why so many Spider-Man villains are green? Ever wondered why so many superheroes wear red, yellow and blue? Find out by watching this colour theory film about comics. Hi, my name is Yvonne Wan and I'm the creator of Focus Comic. I'm an award-winning artist and I'm also an art educator too. I want to welcome you to today's class where I'll be teaching you about the colour wheel and how that relates to comics. You will learn about the importance of colour in comics, colour wheel, the relationships between colours and colour harmony. You will also learn about how this applies to comic illustration and the tools and techniques to achieve the desired outcomes. In other words, I'm going to teach you how to select colours that will enhance your art. This class will be suitable for students between 14 and 18. What you will need for today's class is paper, pencil, eraser, ruler, colouring tools such as alcohol markers and colouring pencils. If you have a compass, please have that to hand, otherwise we will draw a freehand circle. Before I start, I would like to mention that I would recommend you use sustainable materials such as recycled paper and a mechanical pencil because it's good for the environment and the ecosystem. So let's talk about the importance of colour in comics, the colour wheel and colour theory. Colour plays an important role when it comes to storytelling in comics. We use colour and value to add prominence to certain elements and recede others based on what is important. Colours can help lead the eye through the page, set the pace of the action, and create or enhance the mood of a scene. The importance of colour in comics should not be undervalued, and it is essential for any comic artist to have a basic understanding of colour theory to create notable works. Colour theory is really important in helping you as an artist to find the perfect colour combination that looks good together. So if you want your artwork to really pop, then understanding colour theory is important. Now, colour theory is grounded in science, so it's a very helpful way of viewing how you can apply colour for maximum impact. One of the world's most influential scientists of all time, Sir Isaac Newton, invented the colour wheel in 1666. He is the same scientist who came up with the theory of gravity by watching the fall of an apple from a tree. Anyway, his colour wheel is the basis of colour theory because it shows the relationship between colours. There are different types of colour wheels to choose from, and despite different opinions on which ones are more valid, I think in reality any colour wheel which presents a logically arranged sequence of pure hues has merit. Colour harmony is achieved when you match colours that look great together. There are three main types of colour wheels. The red, yellow, blue colour wheel, RYB, which relates to paint and pigment colours, and the red, green and blue colour wheel, which refers to mixing light. The CMYK colour wheel relates to print. CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow and key colour. Key colour meaning black. In today's class, we are going to focus on the red, yellow, blue colour wheel because I think it's important to equip you with some traditional medium art knowledge skills as a foundation to work from. Also, I am aware that you guys may not have access to digital software and hardware to practice digital colouring. I want this class to be more inclusive through my choice of mediums for my students. So this is a red, yellow, blue colour wheel which has 12 colours. A colour wheel is an abstract illustrative organisation of colour hues around a circle, which shows the relationships between primary colours, secondary colours, tertiary colours, etc. So let's talk about colours. Primary colours are colours that cannot be mixed using any other colour, so we're talking about red, blue and yellow. Secondary colours are created by mixing primary colours, red, yellow, blue. The secondary colours are purple, green and orange. So you create purple by mixing blue and red, green by mixing yellow and blue, orange by mixing red and yellow. Tertiary colours are created by mixing primary colours and secondary colours. So that's red, orange, yellow, green, yellow, orange, blue, green, red, violet and blue, violet. So before we move on, I want you to create your own 6-color wheel based on primary and secondary colors. Please replicate this color wheel to the best of your ability. You may use any traditional coloring tool you like, such as alcohol markers or coloring pencils. The reason why I would like you to create this traditional medium color wheel is because the perception of color based on the relationship of colors are actually different when you see it on the computer. I want you to see how the colors relate to each other on paper using pigments. To reiterate, RYB color wheel applies to paints and pigments. I want this color wheel to guide you in selecting traditional colors for future traditional medium art projects, including comic art. So here are the guidelines on how to create a simple 6-color RYB color wheel. You will need to draw a circle to create this color wheel. You may draw a circle using a compass or trace around a circular object in your home. That can be a bowl or a cup. If you don't have any of these to hand, you may draw a freehand circle. Once the circle is done, please divide the circle into 6 parts using a ruler. This will involve drawing 3 lines across the circle. The shapes do not need to be perfectly identical in size, since we are just creating a quick visual tool for illustration purposes. Now that you have this color wheel in front of you, I'm now going to introduce you to different types of color combinations. I would like you to refer to your color wheel as we explore the combinations. So the first color combination I would like to talk about is complementary colors. Complementary colors can be found on the opposite side of the wheel. They tend to provide high contrast and high impact color. When you put these colors together, they will stand out more. They will also appear brighter and have more prominence. So looking at your color wheel, the complementary color to red is green. So what that means is that red and green look really good together. They provide high contrast and high impact. So now I'm going to quiz you. What is the complementary color to orange? You have 5 seconds to identify the opposite color of orange on the wheel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is blue. Did you get that right? So what that means is blue and orange are colors that look good together. They have high contrast and impact when it is used as part of your color palette. Next question. What is the complementary color to yellow? You have 5 seconds to identify the opposite color to yellow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is purple. Did you get that right? So what does that mean is purple and yellow are colors that look good together. They have high contrast and impact when it is used as part of your color palette. So let's now briefly study how color theory applies to superheroes that were created in the Silver Age. The term Silver Age refers to the 1950s to the 1970s, in which comic books were originally available. So we are looking at superhero creations such as Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, The Flash. Now take a look at all these superheroes and villains. I want you to identify the color commonalities in all these visual images made in the Silver Age. You will notice that most of these characters from the Silver Age are formed of primary colors: red, yellow, blue. The Silver Age was a time of simplified color palettes and set color associations. This is because of technological limitations during that era, and also cost limitations in printing. Back then, comics were printed on cheap paper and cheap ink. Publishers saved a lot of money by keeping the color palette simple. Now back in those days, most superheroes wore costumes that had simplified primary colors such as yellow, blue and red. Villains wore complementary colors such as green, purple and red. So that makes it easier for artists and readers to distinguish the heroes from the villains on the page. Complementary colours are opposite colours, so the two polar opposites are visually and symbolically important, especially when a scene gets incredibly busy with lots of fast detail and you need to differentiate the background and key characters at a fast-moving pace. A lot of strategic planning goes into comic creation, including the colours that are assigned to key characters. Take Spider-Man for example. Spider-Man is mostly red. Green is its complementary colour. Take a look at some of his villains. Notice a colour commonality here? Opposite colours. Green. Green is a common colour that creators and colourists picked to represent the villain. When Spidey is all tangled up in fighting Mysterio or the Green Goblin, these colours become an important way to identify and separate the characters and also experience those opposing punches through colour with maximum impact. Panels, in other words comic pictures featuring epic fight scenes between the superheroes and villains have impact because of the strategic colour palettes between the key characters. Now, it's worth noting these epic fight scenes are usually the most central and sensational panels in the comic, since the physical conflicts where both heroes and villains collide have some philosophical parallel to it symbolising the battle of good versus evil. We are all rooting for the good guy to win. The colour palette dramatises the action scenes between the key characters, giving the audience the ability to experience the action scenes with more intensity at a faster pace. Let's talk about monochromatic colour combinations. You can achieve a harmonious, subtle and conservative look with a versatile colour combination involving 3 shade tones and tints of one base colour. Blacks and whites are always added. I think a great example of monochromatic colour schemes being used is the run of Daredevil by Charles Soule and Ron Garney with colours by Matt Miller. They switch to monochromatic schemes between scenes. The lack of colour is used to help us perceive the world like Daredevil does by illumination heat signatures. They use different shades of red for fight scenes. According to colour psychology, red symbolises aggression, and so the readers are able to experience the intensity of Daredevil's aggression through colour. Another colour combination is analogous colour combination. Analogous colour combination are basically colours that are side by side on the colour wheel. The colours are versatile but can be overwhelming, so it looks better if you choose a dominant colour and the other two as accents. So I want to show you one of my comic covers, Focus Comic. We have over 16 variant covers and this is one of the best selling covers we have. This cover features my line art and colours by Paul Mounts, known for working on Spider-Man. Here you can see he used blues and purples and pinks. Those are analogous colour combinations. He also used complementary colours, a yellowish glow like an aura emanating from the costume like magic. This glow stands out, showing that Focus is wearing a light reflecting disco ball costume. Adding a light source from the top shining down on his head actually symbolises intelligence. I would now like to talk about using colours to depict temperature. We can divide the colour wheel into cool colours and warm colours. Warm colours such as red and yellow tend to evoke feelings of warmth, comfort and energy. Cool colours such as blue, green and purple tend to evoke feelings of coolness and isolation. Let me give you an example of warm colours being applied. Now this is another top-selling cover featuring Focus the autistic superhero. The pencil art is by Douglas Hebert and colours by Paul Mounts, known for working on Spider-Man. In this scene I asked Paul to depict a warm Arizonian sunset and he did a fantastic job in generating a warm, serene feeling of calm, peaceful, untroubled sense of being, a feeling of belonging. Colours have a strong impact on readers, and that often translates into more sales because people appreciate good art. Your feelings about colour are often deeply personal and rooted in your own experience of culture. So in addition to using the colour wheel in helping you decide what colours to select for your art projects, you also need to have an awareness of colour psychology. Colour psychology is the study of hues as a determinant of human behaviour. Colour influences perceptions and have qualities that can cause certain emotions in people. For example, in Western culture, white represents purity and is the colour often used for wedding dresses. In Chinese culture, white symbolises death and mourning, since that is the colour reserved for funeral attire. I used to work for some of the world's largest ad agencies, and we used to spend a lot of resources researching colour psychology to build powerful brands. Colours can really influence your attitudes, values, beliefs and behaviour. So when it comes to selecting colours, I want you to synthesize knowledge of social, cultural, historical and personal life with art-making approaches to create meaningful works of art or design. Have a target audience in mind and research into what colour means to the community in which your characters represent. This research will help you resonate with your readers. So for the rest of this class, I want you to apply everything that you learned about colour to practice. So I want you to draw yourself as a superhero or a villain. So I want you to think if you want to be fighting crime for the greater good, or if you want to be the villain that commits crime and acts of evil. I'm going to give you a few moments to come up with a quick pencil concept sketch of yourself as a hero. You can draw yourself with a cape if you want to be a hero, or you can draw yourself with narrow eyes, a crooked nose, or missing teeth if you want to depict yourself as a villain. These are stereotypical signs representing mischievous and evil characters in comic art. Your concept sketch doesn't have to be perfect or detailed, since the purpose of this class is to really help you understand and apply colour in a meaningful way. I now want you to draw the opposing character, whether that's a hero or villain, on the same page. So if you drew yourself as a hero, please draw a villain. If you drew yourself as a villain, please draw a hero on the same page. Now, once the pencil art is done, I want you to refer to your colour wheel and apply everything that we learned today to practice. Select a colour that has meaning to you for your hero, and then apply the complementary colour to the other character. Now you will see that the choice of colours really make the page pop. If you are unsure about what colours look good, you're more than welcome to ask a friend or family member about the perception of the colours that you choose. And it's okay if other people have different opinions to you. Sometimes art boils down to personal taste. So whenever someone gives you their opinion, remember to thank them for sharing their thoughts. Equally, if someone asks you for your thoughts, sharing your opinion can really help other artists to decide how to design a character that connects with other people. Another thing I should mention is that sometimes it is okay to choose colours that defy the colour wheel, because colour psychology is an important influencing factor too. At the end of the day, it's your character creation, so you can colour your heroes and villains any way you want that conveys meaning to you. So I hope you found today's class helpful. If you want to learn more, please feel free to ask me questions. Alternatively, you can buy a book about colour theory or read articles on the subject online. I encourage you to experiment with colours at every opportunity you can get, because it's going to really help you become the best artist you can be. Thank you.